Click, clack. The old man's cane tapped softly on the wooden floor as he made his way through the stillness of FA. He moved slow, bent back, worn flannel shirt, sleeves frayed. A faded ball cap covered thinning gray hair. Over one shoulder, a tattered canvas bag. He reached a window seat, set the bag down, pulled out a weathered leather-bound notebook, its corners bent from years of use. Sir Sna. Lila. 3. That table's reserved for the CAW. The old... Lila crossed her arms. You've been... A few heads turned. A man. I'm not both. This is a public library. Lila said louder. It's not a shelter. People come here to study, to create, not to feel unease. Someone chuckled. Is he homeless? A woman whispered. He talks to himself, another added. The old man stood still. His hand trembled slightly as he clutched the notebook. Lila stepped in closer. Leave, or I'll call security. He slowly picked up his bag, said nothing. A boy stood like he wanted to speak, but his mom grabbed his arm. Click, clack, click. The sound of his cane echoed as he walked away. No one stopped him. Just silence, and an empty chair waiting for someone more appropriate. A few blocks away, the old man turned a key and stepped into a dim, quiet apartment. One room, thin curtains, the soft hum of a refrigerator, the only sound. He placed his bag on a desk cluttered with papers stacked in neat piles. Maps, faded photographs, handwritten letters, a few boxes tucked away in corners taped shut, labeled in marker. He sat slowly, let out a quiet breath. The notebook went down in the center of the desk. On the wall above, a framed photo, black and white. A group of young soldiers, standing in sand, rifles in hand. One face matched his decades younger. He flipped open the notebook. March 2005. Operation Enduring Light. 12 civilians trapped. Enemy fire heavy. Dug through the north wall. Knock, knock. He paused. Closed the book. Mr. Walter? A voice called. He opened the door. Clara stood there, teenager. Backpack slung over one shoulder, arms full of books. Glasses slipping down her nose. I heard what happened at the library, she said, stepping inside. That woman was awful. Walter just gave a tired smile. She was doing what she thought was right. No, Clara said firmly. You didn't deserve that. You've helped me more than anyone in that building. You taught me how to structure a story. You gave feedback when no one else cared. He didn't respond. Just looked toward the desk. Her eyes scanned the room. Landed on a box under the desk half open. She bent down. Inside, a glint of gold. She pulled it out. Wait, he started. Too late. She held it up. Is this real? She whispered. He slowly took it back. Closed the box. Just some old metal, he muttered. But the engraving was clear. Medal of Honor for valor above and beyond the call of duty. Clara stood frozen. Walter turned away. Some stories aren't meant to be told, he said. The next morning, the library buzzed louder than usual. People whispered near the front desk. Did you see that old guy yesterday? Yeah. Creepy. He just sits there writing nonsense. He might be. Unstable, someone added. Lila stood behind the counter, arms crossed, sipping coffee like a hero returning from battle. I had to remove him, she said. Trust me. I was patient for weeks. It's a matter of public comfort and safety. Just then, the front doors opened hard. Clara walked in. Face red, hands shaking slightly as she clutched a folder. She marched straight to Lila. You kicked out a Medal of Honor recipient, she said loud enough for others to hear. Lila blinked. What? Clara held up a photocopy. Walter Hayes, Master Sergeant, Special Forces, retired. You humiliated a man who risked his life for this country while he was writing a memoir for the National Veteran Archives. People started turning. He taught me, Clara continued. He coached half the kids in my building. You thought he was crazy because he was quiet. Lila kept her voice calm, but her jaw tensed. We don't verify medals before seating people. He made others uncomfortable. That's the policy. Clara stared her down. He's earned more than a seat. He's earned respect. Someone nearby muttered, Wait, is this real? I don't need you to believe me, Clara said. The mayor will. She held up her phone. I already called him. Gasps. Lila's smile faded. Outside, more people gathered, peering through the windows. Inside, silence thickened. Clara didn't flinch. She stood where Walter had been forced to stand. Only now, the whole room was watching. 20 minutes later, sirens. A black SUV rolled up outside the library. City seal on the door. Mayor Henry Delgado stepped out, gray suit, polished shoes, sharp eyes. 2 aides followed. A photographer trailed behind. Inside, everyone stood still. The doors opened fast. Where is he? Delgado asked without hesitation. Lila stepped forward, flustered. Mr. Mayor II didn't realize who he was. Clara pointed. He's at home. I gave you the address. Delgado nodded once. Everyone stay right here. 10 minutes later, they returned. Walter stepped through the door, same old flannel, same cap. His eyes scanned the room. Cautious. Why am I here? He asked softly. Delgado placed a hand on his back. Because it's long overdue. He turned to the gathering crowd, library staff, patrons, passers-by now spilling through the entrance. This man, the mayor said, voice carrying, is Master Sergeant Walter Hayes, decorated Special Forces, Medal of Honor recipient, CIA field advisor, rescue operator, survivor of 3 tours and dozens of missions classified to this day. Murmurs turned to stunned silence. Delgado continued. What most of you didn't know is that Sergeant Hayes has been working quietly on a memoir at the request of the U.S. Veteran Archive. Right here. In this library. In that chair. He pointed to the corner where Walter used to sit. He didn't ask for attention. He didn't demand recognition. He just wanted a place to remember. And write. Delgado turned. Took a small velvet box from an aide. On behalf of the people of Fairgrove, and in recognition of both past and present service, it is my honor to present Sergeant Hayes with the city's Medal of Civic Excellence. He opened the box. Gasps. Inside, a gold medallion, engraved with the city crest and the words, "For those who served silently." Walter didn't move. Delgado stepped closer. You deserve to be heard. Walter blinked, looked around. The same faces that turned away yesterday now stared in silent awe. Even Lila couldn't speak. The crowd parted as Walter was led to the front. No applause. Just a heavy silence. The kind reserved for those who've done more than anyone realized. 3 days later, the library doors opened quietly just after noon. Walter stepped in. Same cane. Same slow steps. But this time people noticed. Heads lifted. Conversations paused. A young man near the front desk stood up and nodded. An older woman offered her chair. A librarianat Lila approached and smiled. Welcome back, Mr. Hayes. Your seat's ready. Near the window, a new chair had been placed. Polished wood. Cushioned. A small brass plaque was mounted on the back. Reserved for Walter Hayes, hero, writer, neighbor. He sat down, opened his notebook, pulled a pen from his coat. Clara appeared a moment later, notebook in hand. Then another teen. Then a man in a suit. A child with a crayon drawing. They formed a quiet circle around him. Lila approached slowly. No clipboard. No orders. Just eyes full of something closer to understanding. I'm sorry, she said. I judged you without knowing anything. Walter looked up. You were doing your job. I was doing it wrong, she admitted. He nodded once. No bitterness, no speech. He turned the page. Started writing. The room went still. Not silent, just still. The kind of stillness people respect. The kind earned. And when Walter spoke reading a passage from his memoir, it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't polished. It was honest. We held the line for 12 hours. Not for orders. Not for glory. Just for each other. See blank. That's to 1. 12. End of LibriVox.org. Comse. Comse. See Doublover. 1. 1. We held the line for 12 hours. Clara blinked fast. A child leaned closer. And the tapping of a cane, once the sound of dismissal, had become something else entirely. Click, clack, click. Not shame, not burden, but rhythm. Of a story worth listening to. Of a man finally heard.